It appears that former supporters of former President Donald Trump have a new enemy: early voting. Now, the Daily Beast Will Sommer wrote on Twitter that he has noticed a trend among Trump supporters. Apparently, they are boycotting early voting. Now, why would you do that? Early voting is kind of a good thing. It's a great thing, actually. And it had been used without controversy for quite some time. What's the issue? Oh, right. Some chud made a documentary about it, and now they have scared all the other chuds into thinking that early voting bad. Okay, so let me give you the details on that. So apparently, now right-wingers believe that early voting is a tool that Democrats use to steal the 2020 presidential election. Now, it's an interesting idea emerging from conservative media that Republicans should either vote in person on Election Day or not at all. They think all early voting, even from Republicans, somehow helps Democrats cheat. Somehow. How? That's a good question. How does that let the Democrats cheat if Republicans vote early? Well, NBC News reporter Ben Collins had an idea about this, just a little suggestion, right? They think that the mules, got mules going on here, that are dropping off ballots in the middle of the night. Why in the middle of the night? You would think that would be more conspicuous, right? Middle of the night instead of a busy day, to ballot drop boxes, which are supposed to receive ballots. That's kind of the whole point. So yeah, they're dropping off ballots in the middle of the night, allegedly. And that, right-wingers think that somehow the mules' votes will count, but the Republican votes won't count, even though ballots are generally sealed. So, interesting. And you know what? It would actually be kind of funny if Republican votes, well, okay, maybe not funny, but maybe it would be nice if Republican votes didn't count. At least at this point, but they do. They do, unfortunately for our country, at this point. But look, this is why you have Republicans that win elections all the time. Their votes do count. So even in places where they have early voting, Republicans win. They never seem to challenge it when Republicans win, but when a Democrat wins, and I'm just talking general elections, when it comes to Republican primaries, well, you do have, losers like Laura Loomer or Laura Loser, who keeps losing primaries, crying about it, claiming, it's voter fraud. It's the fraud. So much fraud because I lost against a Republican. It's just been a catch-all to excuse running shitty campaigns. They don't run good campaigns. And when they don't, they lose. Them's the breaks. That's how the cookie crumbles, guys. Instead, you got to sit there and complain and bitch and whine and allege fraud with no evidence, because we live in a fact-free, evidence-free world now where right-wingers do not have to present anything. And they can just call it fake news. And you say, no, it's not real. It doesn't exist. I have the real evidence, except I can't actually show you. I can't show you any of the proof. I just know it. Deep in the bowels. That's where I have the proof. Oh. Do you know? There's a voter fraud in the room with you today. You just want to ask some. But look, that said, if we did have an issue where suddenly every district was going to one candidate at such weird large margins, you 97-3 or something like that, or 97-2, and then 0.1 for someone else. Yeah, that would be weird. I mean, that'd be a little sussy, and then you want to look into it, right? That's what we have, these situations where you can challenge ballots, where you can recounts, you can do all that stuff. And guess what? That's what we did with all the 2020 election stuff. Recount after recount, investigation after investigation, cyber ninja. You know what they found? Cyber ninjas. They're like, oh, Yeah, it turns out the results were accurate. So, but see, understand that here's the thing. Joe Biden barely beat a fascist. That's a really like scary thing. And it's because it seems like half the voting population have just lost their minds and believe in these nonsense conspiracy theories. Those are the same people that are like, no, we are not going to turn out to early vote. We're going to go in person. Okay, great. COVID's on the resurgence, and now COVID is killing more Republicans than anybody else. You sure that's a good idea? Especially, knowing how y'all don't like to wear masks or get vaccines. I mean, it's a free country. Go ahead and make your decisions. Just saying that it might not be very smart. Okay? But no, they cope and seethe. They say, oh, it's the mules. The 2000 mules. They got the drop boxes, and the mules, and the voter fraud. And again, you want to talk about how this is a desperate, attempt to connect things that really aren't related. And they'll probably connect it to George Soros or something, because they always do. They just tend to do that. Oh, look, we've got the video. People are dropping off ballots. Yeah. Turns out you're allowed to drop off ballots. Yes, even for other people, it is called ballot harvesting. In a lot of places, at least before Republicans banned it, it was legal. But I can see how right-wingers, they would be so afraid of that because, well, that would make voters voting easier for, people who don't have means, people who don't have time to go and vote or to stand in line. People don't, early voting, people who want to get that ballot in as soon as possible so they can get back to their lives, absentee ballots, anything that's mail in. All that stuff helps the working class. It helps people who are, who don't have time. We're working 2 unique American jobs. But their focus is on scary drop boxes and black people voting. That's what they hate the most, black people voting. Now, as far as Dinesh D'Souza is concerned, the one who created this movie that everybody's on the right is, I guess, using as proof positive that their voter fraud claims are valid. No, that guy, he's not okay, sure, he's a filmmaker, right? He just makes fiction to scare right-wingers. That's it. That's really all it is. When Ann Coulter is able to call you a moron and a stupid, you might want to, re-examine your life. And by the way, you're a fellow conservative. And she says that about you. Just saying. But no, look, D'Souza, he's all about trying to scam people out of money. Again, he's somebody who is a pardoned criminal, breaking campaign finance laws. But, if you want to listen to him, great, go ahead. By all means, boycott the polls. Why don't you just boycott voting altogether? So maybe you'll be doing a country a favor.